Imagine you are standing in a room filled with bright lights and strange sounds that you do not understand. You cannot speak to the people around you. You cannot explain what you feel or what you need. This is the world of a newborn baby. For a long time we looked at babies and saw only a blank space. We thought of them as simple creatures that just eat and sleep. We believed their minds were empty rooms waiting for the light to be turned on. But the truth is much more amazing than that. Scientists and thinkers are now finding that the light of awareness is already burning bright from the very beginning. We are beginning to realize that the journey of being a human does not start when we learn to talk. It starts much earlier in the quiet dark before we are even born. To understand this, we need to look at how we used to think about babies. This is the surface concept of infancy. For many years people believed that newborns were passive. We thought they were just waiting for their brains to grow enough to feel things. Because they could not tell us they were in pain, some people assumed they did not feel pain at all. This led to many sad mistakes in medicine where babies were treated without the care they needed. We looked at their small bodies and thought their minds were also small and simple. We saw them as objects that needed to be fed rather than people who were experiencing the world. But this view was based on a very big mistake. We assumed that because a baby is quiet they are not thinking. We assumed that because they are new they are not aware. This brings us to a hidden assumption we have about ourselves as adults. We often assume that consciousness is like a light switch that is either on or off. We think that you are either a conscious person who can think and feel or you are not. We link our awareness to our ability to use language and logic. We tell ourselves that because we can remember our day and plan for tomorrow we are the only ones with a true inner life. But the science of the brain is showing us a different structural pattern. Consciousness is not a switch. It is more like a flame that grows and changes over time. When scientists look at the brain signals of a tiny baby they see something beautiful. They see a pattern called the oddball response. Imagine hearing a sound that goes beep 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 and then suddenly boop. Your brain notices that surprise. This only happens when you are awake and aware. It does not happen if you are in a deep sleep or a coma. Surprisingly, newborn babies show this exact same signal. Their brains are actively looking for patterns and noticing when those patterns break. This means they are not just taking in noise. They are building expectations about the world. They are thinking in their own way without words. If we look even closer at the structure of the baby brain, we see a pattern of attention. As adults, we switch between looking at the world and looking at our own thoughts. We focus on a book and then we daydream about lunch. Newborns do this too. They have brain networks that alternate just like ours do. They are already balancing their inner world with the outer world. There is also a pattern called the attentional blink. This is what happens when you focus so hard on one thing that you miss the next thing that happens. In adults, this happens very fast. In babies, it happens in slow motion. It takes a 3-month-old baby nearly a full second to shift their focus. This tells us that their experience is rich and deep, but it moves at a different speed than ours. They are not missing the world. They are processing it with a different rhythm. This realization allows us to reframe our entire perspective on early life. We can move from seeing babies as passive observers to seeing them as active participants. They are tiny explorers who are already navigating the sea of consciousness. This new perspective changes how we should treat them. If they can feel surprise and expectation, they can certainly feel pain and comfort. This reframing has huge implications for medicine and ethics. We now know that we must protect their experience from the very start. We must treat them as individuals with their own subjective lives. This awareness might even begin before birth. When researchers test fetuses in the last weeks of pregnancy, they find those same brain signals of surprise. This means the flame of awareness is already flickering in the womb. The baby is listening to the muffled sounds of the world and starting to learn what to expect before they ever take their first breath. Applying this to our daily life helps us connect with the young people around us in a new way. When you look at a baby, do not just see a cute face. Look at them as a fellow traveler who is experiencing the miracle of existence for the first time. They are trying to make sense of the same universe that we are. We can respect their slow pace of attention. We can give them the time they need to shift their gaze from a colorful toy to your smiling face. We can talk to them not because they understand our words but because they feel the pattern of our voices. We are helping them build their map of reality. This is a journey of shared awareness. We can also reflect on our own consciousness. We can remember that our own light once burned with that same newness. Our sense of self is something that grows and changes, but the core of being aware is a gift we have had since the beginning. We share this flame of awareness with all living things. It is what makes life meaningful. Even though our individual flames will one day fade, the light of consciousness continues in every new life. It is an endless dance of discovery. Each baby born is a new chance for the universe to look at itself through fresh eyes. This deepens our sense of responsibility to the world. We are not just raising children. We are guarding the light of awareness. We are making sure that the world they wake up into is one that respects their inner life. We can find a great sense of peace in knowing that we are part of this long chain of consciousness. From the moment of that first brain signal in the womb to the final moments of our lives, we are part of a grand mystery. We can choose to honor that mystery by being more present and more kind to every conscious being we meet. The more we learn about the baby brain, the more we learn about the true nature of being human. It is not about how much we know or how fast we think. It is about the simple and profound act of being aware. We are all lit by the same fire. We are all trying to understand the bright, confusing lights of existence. When we see a baby now, we can see a person who is already there and already feeling and already wondering. This is a story of connection that spans across generations. It is a story that reminds us that we were never truly alone, even in our very first days. If you could go back to the very first moments of your own life and feel that early flame of awareness without any of the worries or words of adulthood, how would that change the way you value the simple act of being awake today?